So those of you who are emotionally adept and you can navigate in these emotional realms, because it's been your study your whole life, whether you meant to or not, you know these realms real well. You have to carry the water. Think on Kill Bill where she's carrying the water up the stairs. I've heard wise people say that monks, once they reach mastery, something along the lines of, to attain mastery, you carry the water up the mountain. And that can equate to your emotions as well. It may be difficult sometimes, but you carry your emotions up the mountain. You carry the water up the mountain so you can have water up at the temple. And then once you attain mastery, they say that they continue to carry water up the mountain because it serves a purpose. Even if you're a master, you're still doing it. So socially, we're going through an evolution, and we're having to bridge the gap between like the 1950s etiquette and the 90s punk rock, and go backwards to the 70s free love. I heard a woman far more advanced than me say that the 60s were a sexual revolution, free love, and now we're going through a sexual evolution to where we're learning about these energies in the solitude to where they can actually be medicine. If you know the sign for the medical, it's that pole with the snakes spiraling up. That's the masculine and feminine energies within us all, able to spiral up unabated, unblocked. And that is what creates vitality in medicine and rejuvenation in the body. When these get stuck, it's like it pinches off your connection from the all-knowing source within yourself, your insight. And things that can do this are your nervous system. We've taught it to be nervous simply by calling it a nervous system. It's really your awareness system. And when we were little, we learned that we couldn't just fling about however we wanted because that might get on someone's nerves, or it would, maybe the older people around us didn't have any energy and it bothered them that we did. And so when we were kids, we typically learned to abandon our natural brightness, our free energy, and we suppress it just so that they can be comfortable, because they had to do it too, and so on and so forth. So what happens is your fascia is like software. It's like a computer that it has to be, in bodybuilding they call it body work, deep tissue massage. It has to be able to move freely. And over the decades of being alive, we create like this body language that is tense, and our breathing maybe isn't as good as it should be. And then over long term, this creates moods and just vibes. And without realizing it, people believe that's who they are, not realizing that there's a thing called flow state, and you can totally become aware of any area where you might be holding on to tension. I want you to really focus on social situations, and practice going gray rock next time you feel the need to be bubbly and nice, for the other person, because that's taking a toll on you at the end of the day. And the problem with that is, over a long-term scenario of doing this, you end up becoming, I'm going to call you a monster, because you'll end up resenting people, other people, because at the end of the day, you're exhausted from trying to people please. So it might be the hardest thing you've ever done in your whole life, but you need to take your energy back, call your energy back into your body, and possess yourself. Because when we go people pleasing to create ease in other people, they never learn that maybe they're being needy. And they might need to learn how to create that for themselves. And the more people can do this, the faster it will catch on. And pretty soon, there won't be people with this strange spokesperson, fake personality that I see so prevalent around. Long ago, we were told to stay with the group or we would die. But now people are dying because they're so attached to the group, and the group is leading people off a cliff, and not in a good way. It's not a fun cliff dive like on Twilight, those wolf boys. No. People are dying of all these diseases because they're earning these diseases by following the group. So now the pendulum is swinging in a different direction, and we are to the ones who are adept at emotions and how they feel in the body and what the repercussions of abandoning your identity and personality on behalf of others. Those people are going to have to step up to the plate right now more than ever, because there will be a tipping point to where this will be the norm. And then it's okay to follow the group again, because the group are good leaders socially. Again, I see it. It's inevitable. It's like a mathematical equation, a mathematical formula I see playing out in the future. That's what clairvoyance is for any prophet or anyone. They're just really good mathematicians. It's not woo-woo at all. It's just mathematical formulas that you see playing out. And people are, enough people are going to lose the ones they love to these diseases. And those people didn't die for nothing. They didn't die for nothing. So people like you and people like me are going to have to just stand firm in what we know our wisdom and insight is telling us to do. And this is just a broadcast to give you confirmation. If you're still viewing this, you speak the same language most likely. It can be really difficult, though. There's this goddess Sedna, and her story is an Inuit story. And I'm going to give you the Cliff's Notes about it really quick. She was a princess, and her father was a chief, and he wanted her to marry a certain person, but spirit got to her first. I think it was like the crow or the raven, and she was selected to be a priestess. She wasn't supposed to just be a breeder, for the kingdom. She was supposed to be a priestess, so she knew it. And she took a stand, and it upset her father so much that he rowed her from in a boat out in the middle of the ocean, and he threw her over the side, and she held on to the sides, and he took the paddle and he beat her hands so hard it cut her hands off, or fingers off, and her fingers fell to the bottom of the ocean and supposedly became sea monsters. But she died, and she went down there too, and she became a goddess. Why am I bringing this up? Because there's a lot of us alive today that have insight, and it doesn't look normal what we're being guided to do in the dark bioluminescence of our depths. We know what to do, and we're going to be challenged by those around us, kind of like Noah building the boat. Yet it's like an arc of energy that you're building, and it may not look like normal or anything. Like when I go to the gym, they want to know what your goals are, and I can't tell them what my goals are. They would remember me because surely they've never heard this before. I don't have goals. I'm not going to be presentable for fucking. I'm going to be presentable for life and survival. I'm building survival skills. And I think a lot of people can resonate with that. They just want to survive in their bodies. And it's like physical therapy, muscle memory, and just oh God. Yeah. We have a very important responsibility and job to do right now. I'm a mother of a 16-year-old, and I don't go to church at all, but I was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I feel like the truth always comes out no matter what. You can't suppress it. It's like deeply embedded in people's codes, like in their DNA, who they are. And my daughter is such a little lady. She cusses like a sailor, but she is such a little lady. And when I was a Jehovah's Witness, I always had to have a chaperone. They taught you had to have a chaperone if you're to be alone with a boy. Well, supposedly she's going to go on her first outing with a boy, and she kind of sprung it on me like I'm not even a factor in her decision at all. But she supposedly invited a girl to go with her just so she could have someone there with her. So I've been interrupted several times, and I am probably not able to come back to it. So anyways, I'm just really proud of my daughter. And that has nothing to do with this channeled message at all. I just thought I'd say that. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go for a walk.